Welcome back. Here comes our introductory text to our first unit, Red Roses. All right, I'm not going to read the story part. I'm going to have a special guest do that, but we are going to take apart some of the ideas in this unit. Here's our guiding or essential question. What are some milestones on the path to growing up? Click the highlighter down there for me, please. Click this mustard yellow up here, and let's highlight that whole essential question. What are some milestones on the path to growing up? Okay. So, is there anything about age or growing up that you see on this Unit 1 word cloud over here? Oh, yeah. Well, I see grandpa. I see growing up. Events might be a milestone. Hmm, okay. Now I'm going to go over to growing up. Mother. There we are. Now I'm going to take a look over here at this rose. The story is Red Roses. I'm going to see, is there anything about milestones or growing up there? I think it is worth noting that a red rose is usually given out during a milestone after someone completes a dance or after someone is going to prom and they get maybe a red rose from their prom date, right? There's all sorts of reasons why a person might get a red rose. All of them tend to go with an event, tend to have some sort of cultural meaning, right? So it looks like there's a guy named Derek. Maybe he goes through some sort of milestone. Maybe it happens at school. I want to give you guys a chance to um, come up with this on your own. So go ahead and do that now. Just highlight some words that go with the question. Nice work. All right, here's a guiding question for us, a prompt or a TDA that we could revisit later. There's a tension in the lives of teens between their peers and all other concerns. Analyze the conflict between the peers and compassion in Roses and use the text to support your answer. All right, here comes our special guest who's going to read Roses for us. Her name is Techie COVID Teacher. What very interesting name. All right.
Red roses. When I was in middle school, what I wanted most was to fit in. That's all anybody wants in middle school. In middle school, you're suspicious of anyone who stands out for any reason. Derek stood out. We all avoided him. My mom had always told us to never make fun of people, so I never did. I can't say the same for my friends. Not that they were outright mean or anything, but they'd whisper behind their hands, and it was obvious whom they were whispering about. I took no part in this, as I said, but I have to admit, I steered clear of Derek like everyone else.
All right. So notice how I take the question mark, right? Something you might wonder about to look at your T chart again, right? And as I do that, I use that to follow along. Please do that when you're following along on your screen. All right. And you can always start from a place of where's your question going to come from? We can talk about the other dragables later. All right. So let's take a moment and I'd like you to drag your question mark now to a part that you wonder about, a part that you could ask a question about. Please take the time to do that now. All right. So let's pick the story back up.
Despite despite my standoffishness, Derek started leaving me little gifts. Every couple of days, something new. Treasures out of a cereal box, or a gum machine would turn up in my locker, in my desk, and in the pocket of my jacket. I did not acknowledge these things and immediately tossed them into the back of my closet when I got home. I guess I could have told my mother, but I didn't. Sometimes you have to figure things out for yourself. The weeks passed. I continued to ignore Derek and made sure to stay out of his way. Still, the presents continued, a different one each time. I resented the fact that he spent so much time thinking of ways to get my attention. Didn't he have better things to do? My friends teased me. Ooh, Lila has a boyfriend. Lila has a boyfriend, they sang out. It didn't seem fair. I tried tried so hard to fit in, to fade into the woodwork. But here I was, being teased, the butt of a joke, the center of attention. One day, Derek strode up to me in the lunchroom and presented me with a dozen roses. Red, long stemmed, in a flooded paper wrapper with a note
Fluted.
tucked inside. I know I'm not the coolest kid, but take these roses. You'll be glad you did. I should have been flattered, but I was good and angry. The fact that he stood there, grinning lopsidedly, roses in hand, with that hopeful look in his eyes, made me even angrier. I wanted to squash him like a bug. Leave me alone, I growled. Don't you get it? Go away. Ooh, sang the chorus of girls. I wanted to crawl under a rock. Derek looked as miserable as I did. And then, horrors. I saw his bottom lip quiver. He looked like he was going to cry. He couldn't cry. If he cried, they'd call him a crybaby. Derek is a crybaby. Follow him around for the rest of his life. I decided I would not, could not let that happen. No one was going to make me, not even my friends. I took the roses. I carried them around all day. I never did talk to Derek after that. We nodded politely to each other in the hallway, but I never pretended to like him, and he never gave me another present. Somehow we'd worked it out. I lost track of Derek when his family moved away. I guess you could say this was the first time I did something I didn't want to do, just to protect someone else's feelings from getting hurt. Maybe you would call this growth or maturity. I honestly don't know.
Before we finish up the story, take a moment. You see paragraph 13 there? I'd like you to find something that you wonder about in paragraph 13, right where I have the purple question mark, okay? Take a moment, find something that you wonder about. Excellent.
Even though it's been a long time since then, I can picture myself on that day striding through the corridor proudly, the dozen roses clenched tightly in my hand, walking tall, feeling like no one could touch me.
Let's go. All right. So it had a bit of a happy ending. All right. So your job is to think in terms of what is the tension in the lives of tweens between their teens and between them and their peers and all other concerns. You're going to analyze that conflict between peers and compassion and roses and use text to support. Right. Well, you could think about the different moments from it. First, you might want to establish in your essay that her friends are not especially kind, unkind, right? Then you might want to address the moment where she kind of does that sort of like, leave me alone, don't you get it, in front of all her friends, right? That sort of take down, for lack of a better word. And then, of course, how does the story end, right? How does it show you that tension between compassion and concern about what your friends think, right? So we could put carrying red roses, right? And these three things here would be your thesis, right? You could say the tension is explored when paragraph one, unkind friends, paragraph two, takedown, and paragraph three. And that same thing would go in your conclusion. Boom. So that's what that might look like. And then you could write it here. Your job right now is to go back through the story and to take really no more than 3 minutes and to find a place for the question mark on each page, a part that you wondered about. Please take the time to do that with this short story now, and good luck and go get them.